Hey everybody, it is Trey here with another great edition of Reactions to the Classics. Today I'm joined by my sister and also fellow YouTuber, Mackenzie. You can check her out on her channel, Max Mutts, about dog videos and stuff like that. But today we're going to be looking at Radiohead's second album, The Bends. And if this is your first time ever coming by to Reactions to the Classics, welcome, thanks for stopping by. What we do here is look at classic albums, and a lot of the times it's our first time listening to them, and myself and a rotating panel of guest reviewers will give our takes in a track-by-track review format. So if that sounds something interesting to you, be sure to hit that big red subscribe button so you do not miss any of our uploads. And as always, we're going to have the music playing in the background, but due to copyright, we're only going to be able to play little snippets here. We can't play the full song, so if you're wondering why, that's why. So all that to say, man, let's get started in this. Now, Mackenzie, you haven't really ever listened to Radiohead before, right? Have you ever?
No, I've never actually listened to them, but I have heard little bits of the songs from my brother here, such as "Yesterday I woke up sucking a lemon."
Yeah,
he'll just say that randomly.
Yeah, I'll be known to drop some everything in its right place from time to time. So shout out to Kid A on that. But besides that, what do you like to listen to?
I mostly listen to Ariana Grande, Sabrina Carpenter, things like that.
So you're more in the pop realm,
Definitely.
right? Yeah, so this is kind of out of your wheelhouse. So this album, guys, we're going to get into some quick facts before we go into the track-by-track review. This thing was released in March of 1995. It was Radiohead's second album after their debut, which had the famous single Creep on it, Pablo Honey. So this is their second album coming after that. And it was ranked number 110 on Rolling Stone's top 500 albums of all time. It's kind of classified as their start of their turning point before they get into more experimental music and more lyrics based on worldwide issues rather than personal lyrics that Thom Yorke, the lead singer, was singing about. And I'm very familiar with this album. I love this album, so I wanted to show my sister to it, show the younger generation some Radiohead, man. And so all that to say, let's get to the album. All right, we start the Bends off with Planet Telex. You can kind of tell it's a little different sounding than the rest of the album. It has a more, keyboard and electronic based at certain points rather than the grungier guitars that Radiohead was known for at this point. And Thom Yorke recorded the vocals to this when he was drunk one night. It was on the floor, and you can kind of envision that whenever you're listening to this track. And I thought it was a great way to start the album off, kind of talking about how communication gets broken in a bunch of different forms, some more abstract lyrics, and I really dug it. What about you, Mackenzie?
I thought it was very good. I thought it had a nice spacey feel to it, especially at the beginning.
No, that's a good
The
point.
Instruments were really good. I thought the song overall was good, and I really liked it.
That brings us into the title track, The Bends, one of my favorites, and this is about Tom talking about how the pressures of fame and just knowing, okay, who are my real friends and all of this. I thought the chorus here was pretty catchy. The use at the start of kind of an outside recording that they heard at their hotel one day of some guy yelling, it kind of just is a little bit intriguing. What about you, Mac?
So I really liked it. It was definitely one of my favorites.
Was it?
It has a very deep meaning, and I've always wanted to get into music whenever I was older. Ever since I was 5, I wanted to be a singer, and I can imagine the struggle of this, and like how he would really just want to know who is his true friends and who are just there because he's famous.
Yeah, just leeching off of him. No, that's a very good point.
So that brings us on to our next song, High and Dry. Now this was the first single on this album to be released, and I thought it was pretty good overall. It had a nice and catchy tune to it.
Yeah, and later on, Thom Yorke said that he didn't really like this song, and you can tell that it's more, pop-centric is the word, but it is a lighter feel to it compared to the first two tracks, lighter instrumentation. And the chorus, though, I thought was pretty catchy, and I still really dug this, even though Thom himself isn't a huge fan of it and wasn't a big fan of it being included with all the other songs on the bins. After that, we get into Fake Plastic Trees, ranked number 376 on the Rolling Stones Top 500 Songs of All Time. And this gets into some deep lyrics. I think probably the best lyrics on the entire album. Thom here is talking about how people are fake and live a fake lifestyle, a very consumeristic vantage point from a lot of different people. That comes to a head where the guy is condemning this lifestyle but saying he would change to be fake for his girlfriend or society in general to fit in a sense. So it's one that made me think a little bit. And again, it's a kind of a slower tempo song at certain points here, like High and Dry was. But I really dug it. What about you, Mackenzie?
Yes, it is really good. I think the lyrics are very deep, and if you could tell it in 1995, you could definitely tell how fake the world is today.
Yeah, I know, especially you in school, that you can see, you see somebody and you can just say, hey, you're like a fake plastic tree.
Yes. Many people at school or at work definitely probably know many people that just have fake personalities. I know I certainly know some.
Yeah.
And I don't know, I just really like this song.
That brings us into Bones, track number 5. This is one of, I think, the hidden gems on the album. Mackenzie, I know you're not a huge fan of it. That's cool, though. This kind of starts off with a nice little, building anticipation. Then you just hear the blaring guitars and kind of talking about aging on here and the repercussions of that. But I really dug this one. What about you?
This one was definitely not one of my favorites. Yeah. I mean, it wasn't bad, but it wasn't really my style. Okay, so next we have Nice Dream. And this Yorke is talking about how there's someone that really loves him unconditionally, but then it says how it's a nice dream.
Yeah, it's just
showing
fantasy.
that it is not true. It's just something that he's really wanting to happen, but it's not true. And so I like this song.
It's kind of had a lighter ambiance to it as a whole. You know, the chorus where he's just almost whispering like "nice dream." You know, so
yeah, and I can like relate to it a lot because I daydream so much all of the time, and I daydream about things I want to happen, things that I would never want to happen, and I just wish that in some of my daydreams it will happen.
I dug this. I thought the tempo shifts were pretty nice from the previous songs on the record, and it stood out to me for that reason.
So that brings us into our next track called Just. So this is more of the traditional Radiohead meaning to it. You know, the depression, self-loathing.
A lot of good fun stuff.
Yeah. That modern life brings to Thom. And it developed musically from a contest from Johnny Greenwood and Thom to see who could fit the most chords into a song.
Yeah, and you can tell that too. It's very fast-paced, a lot of guitar work in here.
Yes.
But how'd you like it?
I thought this song was really good.
Yeah, I dug this thing too. Opening riff almost has a little Smells Like Teen Spirit fare to it, as most of you probably know that song. Listen to that little Easter egg in there. But I dug this one. I thought it was good musically and lyrically as well.
Yeah, I liked how it was nice and upbeat.
Next up, we go into My Iron Lung. They also released an EP that was called My Iron Lung a little bit before this. And this is essentially about their big hit, Creep. So that was a very unique lyrical take on it, something you don't hear too much about in songs. And I thought they did a really good job with this one. And once the chorus hits, there a lot of distorted guitars, and it just kind of hits you out of nowhere. So I thought this was great. What about you, Matt?
I didn't think that it was like super great like some of the other songs, but it was still alright. It talks about how they got so tired of Creep, and even though it made them very popular and gave them lots of fame, they did not want that to be the only thing that was keeping them so high ranked.
And then that takes us into the very somber, bulletproof I Wish I Was. This is definitely the lowest key, lowest tempo song on the entire record. And very light vocals from Yorke here, pain vocals I would almost say in a certain sense, especially in the chorus, and then you get some nice backing vocals in there as well. But I really like this. Again, I thought it was a nice switch up in styles from the previous song, My Iron Lung, and I really dug this.
Yes, this song was pretty nice. It was a lot sadder than many of the songs on this album.
Kind of talking about like wanting to be stronger than you are, you know, mentally.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so that brings us to our next song, Black Star. This was about how he was in love with somebody with mental illness, and he kept trying to blame it on a bunch of different things. But in the end, it was too much for him. He couldn't do it anymore. And then soon after, he starts to experience the same emotional breakdowns.
Yeah, same symptoms that she was.
Yes.
I thought it was a unique song lyrically, and the music just kind of brought it all together with a nice environment.
Yes, this was definitely my favorite song.
Oh, really?
I like the lyrics and the tempo. All of it was really good.
Our next song is called Sulk, and this was written by Thom about the Hungerford massacre that occurred in England in 1987. And I wasn't really a huge fan of this. I didn't think it was bad, but this wouldn't be up there on my list of best tracks. I don't know, I just think the chorus was a little too sing-songy for my personal taste. What about you, Mackenzie?
Yeah, it was my least favorite too. It was not a bad song, it just wasn't really my style.
And then that brings us to the album's closer, Street Spirit Fade Out. Man, this is one of my favorite songs from Radiohead in general, and especially on this record. Just the opening guitar licks were just really nice, and it just has a sense of just dread and anxiety that kind of builds up within you, and Yorke's lyrics don't do anything to ease that anxiety. Talks about how everything's gonna fade out at the end, and just about the hopelessness that's there. And then the ending refrain where Yorke's saying immerse yourself in love, it's even though he's saying that, it's still kind of ominous the way he's saying it, and so it's kind of a depressing way to end a depressing album all in all, but I just love it.
It was definitely one of my favorites too. I liked how at first it's kind of slower, quieter, and then it comes to be more upbeat.
Once the chorus, it gets louder, Yorke starts, yelling the lyrics out more. So all in all, great track. Now on to our favorite tracks. Mine would be Street Spirit Fade Out. Really dug the Bends, Bones, Fake Plastic Trees, High and Dry. I mean, I could pick a ton from this record.
Yes, so my favorites would be the Bends. My most favorite would be Black Star, and then Street Spirit Fade Out.
Now to our overall score of the album. I've heard this thing a lot of times before sitting down to do this review, so I'm pretty familiar with this. I'm going a 9.25 out of 10 on this thing. This is album of the year level, little above for me personally.
I had to give it an 8.5.
Solid.
I mean, it was a good album. It just wasn't really my kind of music.
5's still good though. And then now we're gonna hit up overrated, underrated, properly rated, our segment that we like to do on here. I'm gonna go properly rated or even a little underrated. I only say underrated because everybody hypes up Kid A and OK Computer, and rightfully so, I might add. But I think the Bend sometimes gets left behind in the Radiohead lore. What about you, Mackenzie? I know it's kind of tough because this is one of the first albums in this genre or the first album in this genre you've listened to.
Yes, I would probably go properly rated.
Alright guys, that is gonna do it from us today. Hope you all enjoyed. Please comment below your favorite track from this great record. If you want to see some more Radiohead, maybe some OK Computer next, Kid A and Rainbows, whatever you want, let us know down below, and I'm sure we'll hit that up soon. Be sure to hit that big subscribe button. We upload twice a week, variety of genres, and I'm sure there's going to be something for everybody, and give us that big thumbs up as well. And until next time, guys, happy listening, and we will catch you all soon.